This is a badass. So I've been trying to figure out a mystery with my R33 GT-R. I guess it's not really that crazy of a mystery, but I've been trying to figure out what clutch is in it. The slave cylinder has been moved, so it's no longer a pull type clutch. Now it's converted to a push type clutch, and there are some blue billet spacers that are between the transmission and the slave cylinder mount. So that's all leading me to believe that this has an aftermarket clutch in it. I just cannot see in any of the openings on the bell housing to know what clutch is actually on it. So to do that, I've got a bore scope. So instead of having to take the transmission out, which was an option that was on the table I was thinking about doing, that's where the bore scope's gonna come in handy.
Interesting. What? It's a Nissan clutch.
You able to see it where it says Nissan?
Yeah.
It looks like an OEM style like pressure plate. As far as like the parts that make up the push type conversion, nothing in here looks like aftermarket per se. Are you making fun of my garage Crocs?
Maybe.
Whatever. Them's comfy. It looks like an OEM, throw out bearing fork. It looks like the input shaft like housing on the trans is stock. I don't know, this is really interesting. So yeah, I don't know, that's kind of crazy.
Just wanted to interrupt the video here because I've been doing some Googling and I think I figured out what's going on with our clutch. I think the previous owner used the genuine Nissan pull to push conversion kit because it looks like OEM components that I have on the car. Other than those blue slave cylinder spacers, it looks like this kit here. That's exactly what the clutch fork looks like. That's exactly what the boot looks like. And that's exactly what my slave cylinder looks like. So I think that's what we got going on, which is kind of cool that it already has the push type conversion. So I should just be able to buy like a push type twin disc or something like that and install it. As you saw in the previous video, I have a ton of parts that I've been stockpiling for the next phase of the R33 build. And one of those parts that we're waiting to come in, which should hopefully be here today, that I'm really excited about, is a new clutch. So we'll be able to replace that mystery clutch that was in the car and know that we have a really nice clutch that's gonna be capable of handling the power and torque that we're gonna hopefully make with this car. One of the other things that we need to do on this car is install a upgraded oil cooler setup. So I previously installed the Tarks Greddy Colab oil relocation setup, but unfortunately that deletes the factory water to oil cooler system that's on the RB engine. And I have been noticing lately that my oil temps have been getting a little warm, especially now that it's getting warmer here in the summer months in Arizona. When I have driven the car a little bit, the oil temps are creeping up there, like 240 to upwards of 260 with just normal driving, and that's way too hot. So what I've got here is a 16-row ISR oil cooler. It's got a -10 inlet and outlet. I've got an assortment of -10 fittings that we're gonna be using, different angles, so I can kind of mock up, exactly how I want the AN lines to run. I've also got these AN line separator / holder clamps that kind of keep the lines nicely in place and routed nicely next to each other. And then of course, I've got some braided -10 AN hose that we're gonna be using. So the next step is basically gonna be mocking up the oil cooler sitting where I want it to sit, and then getting the lines routed and run and plumbed and everything cleaned out, and then we can start the car and make sure everything's good and we've got no leaks. Yesterday, I made some good progress just trying to figure out where I was gonna mount the actual cooler for this oil cooler setup, and then we ended up going to dinner with some friends and doing some other things, and I never got back to it yesterday. I did go and get some aluminum material and some fittings and some other stuff to make nicer brackets. Basically, I have it mounted right now with some just kind of generic brackets with some material that I had laying around just to kind of get the positioning of the cooler correct. And then my mission today is get some actual decent like mounting brackets made for this, and then run the hoses for the cooler. So obviously we've got inlet at the bottom, kind of hard to see. But yeah, we got inlet here at the bottom, outlet here at the top. So the hoses will come from kind of where the oil filter relocation is right now, right here. I'll have a 180-degree bend come out of that. That'll feed over to the cooler. And then obviously the return line back from the top of the cooler here. And I'll figure out all that with those different fittings that I have but basically this is where it'll get mounted. I've already test fit the fender liner. It fits in here really nicely right behind this, and it clears on the bottom, and it clears the bumper here on the side. I've already kind of test fit all that stuff. So I'm gonna get these brackets made, and then we should be good to start routing some hoses. Got the cooler mounted with some brackets, just some aluminum strap brackets that I made. Still need to clean up the brackets a little bit, paint them and all that. But basically, if you look down here, I put the fender liner back in so we could see we got tons of clearance. This thing is like ultra rigid mounted. It's mounted to 3 points on the front fender and then 1 point on the front crash bar. So really solid. Got plenty of room for hoses down here. Got plenty of clearance all around this and in the bottom. And I'm like 100% positive the bumper clears, but I'm gonna throw the bumper on right now and just double check that. Oh yeah, I got plenty of clearance. There's like over an inch of clearance to that thing touching the bumper. And then obviously we've got plenty of clearance down here. So this is perfect. So now we can start running our lines. The top line right here, that is the return. So it goes from the incoming oil into the oil filter from the engine. Then it goes out of the oil filter, the center of the oil filter, obviously. And then that output feeds the bottom of the oil cooler so that the oil cooler can fill up and there's no air pocket in there. And then it outputs out the top and then back to the return side of the system back into the engine. So yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that obviously that was all routed correctly and we weren't going to have any, huge air pockets or anything here in the oil cooler. So since it's mounted like this and it fills from the bottom, this whole thing will be filled. Every chamber in there that's designed to have oil flowing through it should be filled up and there shouldn't be any air pockets. Basically what I did was I disabled the CAS, the cam angle sensor, I disconnected it, and then I cranked with the return hose just into a bucket, and I cranked and cranked and cranked until it built oil pressure and oil started coming out, flowing out of that line. I hooked it all back up, plugged the CAS back in and fired it up and ran it. Oil pressure is normal. Everything seemed good. Checked for leaks, didn't have any leaks. So we should be good. So far, I'm really pleased with this oil cooler. I was able to drive the car around quite a bit this weekend and I never saw oil temps above 220 degrees, which is awesome. That's about 40 degrees cooler than what I was seeing prior to putting the cooler in. The other thing I wanted to update you guys on is the clutch that I decided to go with. So obviously in the beginning of this video, I was, figuring out the mystery clutch, figured out that it was unfortunately an OEM clutch that was in the car. I sort of had my fingers crossed, seeing that it had already been converted to a push type clutch. I was hoping that somebody had put like a nice clutch in there. I kind of had a feeling it might be a stock clutch just because the engagement was really easy and it drove really nice and smooth and it didn't feel like an aftermarket clutch. Maybe they had an upgraded clutch in it at some point, and then before they got rid of the car, they put a OEM push clutch back in it. Maybe that's why it has those blue billet spacers for the slave cylinder. I don't know. Could be any number of reasons why. But regardless of that, I decided to go with a uniclutch twin disc. So I'm super stoked to get this in the car. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Uniclutch. They are not a super new company, but they're pretty new when it comes to clutches. They're made in Australia, really, really high quality materials, machined very nicely. And it's an all-in-one package. So these clutches come as like an assembled clutch pack, and they have a flywheel surface built into them. So basically all you do is take this clutch disc or clutch, twin disc clutch pack assembly and bolt it to your flywheel with their adapter kit. Or in my case, you bolt it to their ultralight flywheel, which I ordered, which has not come in yet. So I can't put the clutch in quite yet because I'm still waiting on the flywheel to come in. But basically, these are modular twin disc clutches, and I think they even make a triple and a quad disc now. I went with the twin disc because the track version of the twin disc. They do have like a street version, but I went with this one because they have incredible clamping load, but they have really close to stock pedal feel, and they don't make any noise. So I don't like loud, crazy, rattly twin discs where it sounds like your car is broken. Unless it's a race car and you're just going for all-out performance, then who cares? But as a street car, I don't want to be going to a meet or pulling into a parking lot or pulling in wherever and have this nasty, rattly, loud, crazy race car clutch in my street car that is probably never going to make more than 550 or 600 wheel horsepower. So I'm super stoked to get this in the car. Like I said, I'm just waiting for the flywheel. And then we should be off to the races, getting the clutch broke in, doing these other mods that I have for the car that you will continue to see. Every episode that I'm putting out is sort of this series of this phase of the build. I'm not sure what the next video is going to be yet. I have to figure out what makes the most sense to do in what order. But basically, yeah, I'll be updating you guys as we go and revealing the parts to you in each subsequent episode or video going forward. So now you know what my clutch setup is. Obviously, you saw we got the oil cooler on there, and yeah. So I know it's not super exciting parts to install in this video, but they are necessary things for what's to come with the future of the car. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, all the cool YouTube things, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.